Okay guys, we ran into a massive problem. Hey guys, it's been an absolute crazy couple of weeks. If you saw my video last week, you know that we had a baby last Saturday. And it's been a whirlwind ever since. You can probably hear it in my voice. I feel a little slurred from not getting much sleep. Also, another crazy thing that happened is that we had this mega ice storm roll through, and that's been a big stressor in terms of the studio. I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. But let's jump into where we left off last week. Day number 3.5. Good morning. It's 28 degrees this morning. This is a Friday. Yesterday was all about getting this floor put in. That took a really long time with 2 people. It took almost a half day, maybe 4 hours to get all this wood nailed in with a nail gun. And then we moved on to putting the walls on. We started over here, worked our way all the way around until we got to here. We just needed to get to that point so that it would be stable throughout the night. And yeah, it went up pretty smooth. There were a few things that we wish the instructions would have told us. Like there are some screws back here. I'll walk back on this other side. There are some screws here on these planks. I don't even know if you can see that. If you release those, it's a lot easier to put those panels together because they just don't want to slide together. But other than that, I mean, really, it's been really well thought out, and it's truly looking beautiful. I don't know if you can tell how pretty this wood is. We got a ton of mud all over the ground, but it's genuinely looking amazing. Today's goal is to support the walls. I think we have to go through and add all these different support beams. We have to put in the little bars that go up to support the windows. And then hopefully today we'll be able to put some of the roof framing up. The first section that we had to work on was supporting that wall. It's really sort of flimsy at the way it sits at the moment. And so we had to put in these 2x2 support beams vertically and horizontally throughout the building. I mean, it was really a simple thing, but the magic that happened was that building went from feeling loosey-goosey to rock solid. I was blown away that when we just put in those simple supports that the whole building just got this structural soundness to it. The next part that we moved on to was adding the supports for the windows. And I am gonna be saying this a lot in this video, but the engineering on this was just incredible. Every board had a specific spot that it went, and the measurements just lined up to a T. I couldn't have asked for anything more satisfying or gratifying or just downright impressive and easy. So we finished putting up those supports, and it was just like butter. We picked up the windows and they just slid right in. As we just got to a pretty exciting spot, we're starting to put the windows in, and I just wanted to show you, look at how perfect this is. That's some engineering right there. All we did was just put it up there and it fit in perfectly. Once we got the windows installed, we simply added some spray foam insulation throughout the gaps, which they actually included. But side note, the one that they included required an actual spray foam gun, which I didn't have. So I just went to Home Depot and bought some spray foam that I could just use without a gun. But it was kind of cool, just for you to know, they did include the spray foam. Next up, we moved on to putting the rafters on. And I have to say this again. Wow. To the engineering team that designed this, it was just insane how you could just put the rafters up and they had this like very tiny space that every single one just perfectly lined up with. And then I'll throw this in there as well. Seeing the windows and seeing the rafters, my entire perspective of this project changed. It no longer felt, not that it was feeling cheap or anything like that, but it goes from being just this pile of materials to being a real substantial building, and that shift happened right at that moment, and I was just absolutely blown away that this structure was mine and that it was in my yard. The next morning, I got up really early before my brother-in-law got there to help me and started it had me put the corners on the building. And I just wanted to let you, I'm just gonna cut the music out and just let you experience this satisfying way that they've designed this. They used tongue and groove in some really cool ways to just make this whole building seamless. once my brother-in-law got there, we moved on to the next step, which was putting in the ceiling. This is a tongue and groove ceiling, and for the most part, it went in pretty smooth. It gets a little tough at the edges, at the final part, where you have to squeeze in these couple of pieces into this really narrow space. So that required just a little bit of figuring out, but we eventually got it in there. Just like everything else, seeing that ceiling go in was very satisfying, and it just starts making it feel more and more real. So that marks the 4th full day of working. That's where we got to. All right, now I want to vent just about one little thing here that's a little bit confusing to me. I'm not totally sure why they have you put the ceiling on before they have you put the roof on. Because let me explain. If you could put the roof on first, then you could go ahead and shingle it. The whole building would be protected, right? None of this is treated wood, so you have to keep everything dry. But the fact that they have you put the ceiling in first means that before you can put that roof on, you have to have all your electrical run up there, and you have to have insulation up there. Because you can't put the roof on and then go back and do those things now, because it's totally sandwiched in there. The day after we finished the ceiling, we ran into a massive problem. There was a huge thunderstorm rolling in, and so we had no option but to tarp the whole thing. And so I went out and bought a few tarps, and we tied them all out. But there was a big problem with this. The water collected inside of in the dips in between the rafters, and it actually collected so much water that it started to put pressure on the ceiling that was down below those rafters, if that makes any sense. So at the time, this wasn't a massive issue. I could just go take buckets and dump the water off, and then the electrician was supposed to come. This was on a Thursday. The electrician was supposed to come on a Tuesday, but then we had our baby, and so we had to cancel that electrician coming out. And then all of a sudden we were supposed to have this massive ice storm, and so we had to come up with a different solution. Today it's like 30 degrees, feels like 15, and we're supposed to get between 8 and 10 inches of snow tonight, which is just so rare. Luckily, I have my friend Charles Miller over here. He's a designer, so neither one of us know what we're doing, but we're giving it a really good run. And we're trying to nail down the tarp so that it stays really taut in between and it can catch the snow and slide off instead of sinking down in. Anyways, all that is to say, it's good. We got a good solution going, but again, why couldn't we have just put that roof on first? And then as you're putting in you could have gone and put the electrical up while you're covered. You could have then put the insulation up on top of the ceiling as you're building the ceiling up. So I'm just still not sure why it had me do that. So if you're building this, maybe you can try doing it the other way. Okay, I think that's it for my update today. Just so you know, the electrician is not supposed to come this Saturday, but the next Saturday. So once he's here and we get all that completed, then I'll have another video for you where we start putting on the actual roof and finishing up everything else. Thank you so much for watching. It's truly a pleasure to get to share this experience with you. Have an amazing week. I will be back with another video next Tuesday. I'm not sure it'll be about the studio because I'm not sure I'll have anything else to share. But nonetheless, have a great one. I will see you next week, next Tuesday. Bye.